Welcome to our channel where we explore the fascinating world of coins from across history. Today we will dive deep into the story of one of Britain's iconic small denomination coins, the halfpenny of 1962 featuring Queen Elizabeth II. This little coin may seem simple at first glance, but behind it lies centuries of British monetary tradition, a connection to the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and a collectible value that continues to capture the interest of numismatists around the world. To understand the 1962 halfpenny, we must first step back in time to discover the origins of the halfpenny itself. The halfpenny as a denomination was first introduced in England in the 13th century under the reign of King Henry III. At that time money was struck in silver and the smallest coins were vital for everyday transactions. A penny itself held considerable value, so smaller fractions like the halfpenny and the farthing were introduced to make commerce more practical for ordinary people. Over the centuries the denomination survived many reforms, changes of monarch, and shifts in the economy. By the Victorian era the halfpenny had become an established copper coin and later transitioned to bronze in 1860. The design of the halfpenny also evolved with each monarch. Under Queen Victoria the coin carried her youthful portrait and later a mature veiled head. Edward VII and George V continued the use of Britannia on the reverse, a symbol of Britain's naval power and imperial pride. When George VI ascended the throne the coinage maintained continuity but with his own effigy. By the time Queen Elizabeth II became monarch in 1952 the halfpenny was ready for another transformation both in portrait style and in its symbolism. The halfpenny of 1962 was struck in bronze and weighed 5.67 grams. Its diameter measured about 25.5 millimeters, making it slightly smaller than a modern 2-pence coin but larger than many coins we are familiar with today. The composition was a mixture of copper, tin, and zinc, giving it the traditional bronze appearance that British coinage had maintained since the mid-19th century. On the obverse of the 1962 halfpenny we see the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II. This was the first official portrait of her reign designed by Mary Gillick. Unlike later portraits which showed a more formal and regal side, the Gillick portrait captured the youthful optimism of the new queen. Is shown wearing a laurel wreath reminiscent of classical imagery rather than a crown. This design choice symbolized both continuity with history and a fresh new era for Britain following the Second World War. Around the portrait is the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II de Gratia Regina Fd, which translates to, Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen Defender of the Faith. The reverse of the 1962 halfpenny is equally rich in symbolism. Designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, it features the image of Sir Francis Drake's ship the Golden Hind. This 16th-century galleon was famous for Drake's circumnavigation of the globe between 1577 and 1580. By placing the Golden Hind on the coin the design celebrated Britain's maritime history and spirit of exploration. It also tied the nation's identity to themes of adventure, trade, and naval dominance which had defined much of its history. Below the ship is the denomination written as halfpenny, while the year of issue, 1962, appears at the bottom. The choice of the Golden Hind was especially significant. While Britannia had been a long-standing emblem of British coinage, the new reverse for the halfpenny provided a refreshing change in the mid-20th century. It reminded the public of England's Elizabethan age under Queen Elizabeth I, drawing a symbolic connection between the first Elizabeth and the second. This clever use of history helped give the coin deeper cultural meaning beyond its everyday monetary use. In circulation the halfpenny served as one of the smallest coins in the British system. It was worth 1/200th of a pound sterling or half of a penny. This tiny value made it useful for small purchases, especially in an era before inflation reduced the worth of money. In 1962 a halfpenny could buy a small sweet, contribute toward a newspaper, or combine with other coins for daily expenses. Though small in value it played an important role in commerce. The year 1962 itself was part of a period of stability in British coinage. The currency was still based on the pre-decimal system which dated back centuries. Under this system there were 240 pennies to the pound, 12 pennies to the shilling, and 20 shillings to the pound. The halfpenny therefore represented half of one of those 240 units, making it one of the tiniest building blocks of the system. Decimalization would not arrive until 1971 when Britain adopted the modern system of 100 new pence to the pound. When that reform came, the traditional halfpenny in bronze was withdrawn. Production of the 1962 halfpenny took place at the Royal Mint. Millions were struck to meet the needs of circulation, and the coin was widely used across the United Kingdom. Because of the large mintage, the coin is not considered rare in general condition today. However, examples that have survived in uncirculated or proof-like state are far more desirable to collectors. The beauty of the golden hind design shines especially well when the surfaces remain bright and original. From a collector's perspective, the value of a 1962 halfpenny depends heavily on condition. A heavily circulated piece might only be worth a few pence, while a pristine uncirculated example could fetch several pounds. Special proof issues made for collectors in sets may command even higher prices. Though the coin is not one of the great rarities of British numismatics, it remains popular because of its connection to the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and because of the striking design of the golden hind. Beyond the monetary value lies the historical significance. The coin reminds us of a Britain that was still adjusting to its new post-war identity. In 1962, the nation was entering a decade of social change, cultural transformation, and modernization. The halfpenny was part of the everyday lives of millions of people who carried it in their pockets and purses. It was handled in corner shops, schoolyards, buses, and markets. For many older generations, the coin evokes strong memories of childhood and daily life. In the early 60s, the portrait of Elizabeth II on the coin also holds special meaning. The Gillick design remained on coins until 1968, when it was replaced with a new effigy by Arnold Machin. Thus, the 1962 halfpenny is one of the coins that captures the very first official likeness of the Queen as a young woman. Collectors today often appreciate these early portraits for their elegance and classical inspiration. As the years passed, the role of the halfpenny diminished. Inflation reduced its purchasing power, and decimalization eventually brought an end to its use. By 1971, the coin disappeared from circulation along with other pre-decimal denominations. Yet the memory of the little bronze coin endures through the collections of numismatists and through stories passed down by those who used it in their daily lives. One interesting cultural note is how the coin was sometimes referred to in speech. The halfpenny was often called a ha'penny in traditional British usage. This colloquial term reflected the way people shortened the word in everyday conversation. Phrases such as "not worth a ha'penny" entered the language to signify something of little value. The coin therefore even influenced expressions and sayings within the English language. Today, when we look at the 1962 halfpenny, we see more than just a small piece of bronze. We see a connection to medieval origins when the denomination was first conceived. We see the Victorian reform that gave the coin its bronze body. We see the optimism of Elizabeth II's early reign captured in Mary Gillick's portrait. And we see the proud naval history of England symbolized by Drake's golden hind. In one small object, centuries of history are compressed into metal. Collectors often cherish coins like this not only for their numismatic qualities but also for the stories they carry. A 1962 halfpenny in your collection is a tangible link to Britain in the 60s, to the continuity of the monarchy, and to the traditions of maritime exploration. For younger generations, it offers a chance to learn about a time when money looked and functioned differently. For older generations, it can stir memories of pocket change from childhood. The journey of the halfpenny also illustrates the broader story of British coinage. From medieval silver pennies cut into halves to modern decimal coins struck in vast numbers, the evolution of money mirrors the evolution of the nation itself. Every coin is a miniature work of art carrying symbolism, authority, and value. The 1962 halfpenny is one chapter in this long and fascinating narrative. As you explore your own interest in coins, remember that even the smallest denomination can have a big story to tell. The halfpenny may have been worth very little in monetary terms, but in historical and cultural terms it is priceless. Whether you are a dedicated numismatist or simply curious about history, the coin offers lessons about art, economy, and national identity. In conclusion, the UK halfpenny of 1962 featuring Queen Elizabeth II stands as a modest yet meaningful coin. It tells the story of continuity in the monarchy, of Britain's maritime pride, of the early optimism of Elizabeth's reign, and of the pre-decimal currency system that served the nation for centuries. Though small in size, the coin carries with it a weight of history that far exceeds its bronze mass. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past through the lens of the 1962 halfpenny.